The Quiet Revolution, Finding Peace Without Losing Power in the Soft Girl Era. Welcome to a space where softness meets strength, where peace coexists with purpose. Today, I want to share with you some truly transformative insights from my recent conversation with Paulette Clark, a visionary who has fundamentally changed how we think about political engagement in the era of constant information. Paulette has been instrumental in creating frameworks that allow Black professionals to remain informed about global events without sacrificing their mental well being. Her work has touched thousands of lives, creating ripples of change across industries and communities, truly making the world a better place through what she calls balanced awareness. When I first encountered Paulette's work, I was struck by its elegant simplicity. In a world that often equates awareness with anxiety and engagement with exhaustion, she offers a different path, one that honors both our need to know and our right to peace. The phrase soft girl era has been floating through our collective consciousness lately. But what does it really mean when the world seems anything but soft? When war headlines dominate our feeds and political tensions rise, how do we reconcile our desire for peace with our responsibility to stay informed? This question sat at the heart of my conversation with Paulette, and what emerged was revolutionary, not because it was complex, but because it was so beautifully simple. Being in your soft girl era doesn't mean disconnecting from reality. It means creating intentional boundaries around how you engage with it. Let that sink in for a moment. The soft girl era isn't about ignorance, it's about intelligence, emotional intelligence. It's about recognizing that you can be both informed and at peace. You can be aware without being overwhelmed. You can care deeply without carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders every minute of every day. As Paulette so eloquently put it during our interview, being in your soft girl era is about making an effort to live in peace, happiness, and calmness. But this can coexist with being politically aware and engaged. This philosophy is particularly crucial for Black professionals, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. We navigate space that weren't designed with us in mind, carrying historical and present day awareness that others might not. The ability to stay informed about global politics and conflicts isn't just about being a good citizen, it's essential for making strategic decisions in business and life. Understanding world events provides context for economic shifts, market opportunities, and potential challenges. But consuming this information without boundaries can lead to burnout, anxiety, and diminished effectiveness in all areas of life. So, how do we find this balance? How do we stay informed without becoming overwhelmed? Let me share a powerful example that emerged from my conversation with Paulette. Consider Ari Lennox, whose journey embodies this balanced approach. After achieving significant success with hits like Pressure and Waste My Time, Ari took a brief hiatus before returning with new music that embodied the soft girl philosophy. Her single Soft Girl Era, released in April 2025, became the most added song on urban radio upon release. What makes Ari's approach so powerful isn't just her music, but her message. She demonstrates that embracing softness doesn't mean silencing your voice on important issues. Instead, it means finding sustainable ways to use that voice, ways that don't deplete you. I remember listening to an interview where Ari explained how she had once been consumed by every injustice she saw online, constantly reposting, constantly commenting, constantly carrying the emotional weight, until she realized she was too exhausted to create the art that was her most powerful form of expression. Her shift wasn't away from awareness, but toward intentional engagement. Her music now resonates with audiences seeking both empowerment and peace, proving that success doesn't require constant hardship. This is the essence of the soft girl era, rejecting the notion that struggle is a prerequisite for achievement or awareness. But this philosophy extends beyond the entertainment industry. The AIDS Outreach Center provides another powerful example. They faced a significant challenge: how to communicate serious health and social issues while acknowledging the mental health needs of their audience. Their solution: adopting soft girl era messaging to create approachable educational content about difficult topics. The organization recognized that many people were tuning out important health information due to information overload and anxiety. By reframing their approach, they increased engagement with their educational materials while providing tools for maintaining mental wellness. Their campaign defined the soft girl era as a time where one makes an effort to live in peace, happiness, and calmness while still staying informed about critical health issues. This created a model for how organizations can communicate serious topics without overwhelming their audience. What's fascinating about their approach is that it didn't dilute the seriousness of their message, it enhanced it. By acknowledging people's need for emotional safety, they created space for deeper engagement with difficult information. Their metrics showed not just increased viewership of their content, but increased action taken as a result. This approach is revolutionary in its simplicity. It acknowledges that awareness without action leads to anxiety, while action without awareness lacks direction. The sweet spot lies in between: informed, intentional engagement that leads to meaningful impact without constant distress. Perhaps most relevant to many of us is the soft girl era has begun movement among Black professional women. This movement emerged from a recognition of burnout from working hard while navigating systemic challenges. Instead of accepting this as inevitable, these women created communities that embrace a soft life that doesn't encourage or embrace hardships to prove worthiness. The result: a growing movement of professionals who maintain their career ambitions while rejecting unnecessary struggle. They've built online and offline communities where members share strategies for staying informed about world events while protecting their mental space. One woman in this movement, a corporate executive who previously checked news alerts hourly, described how she now dedicates 30 focused minutes each morning to quality news sources, then channels her concerns into specific actions rather than constant consumption. I'm more informed now than when I was constantly scrolling, she explained, because I'm absorbing information with intention rather than anxiety. The impact extends beyond individual well being. These communities are changing workplace cultures by demonstrating that effectiveness doesn't require constant sacrifice and hardship. They're proving that softness can be a strategic advantage, allowing for clearer thinking, more creative solutions, and sustainable success. As Paulette shared during our conversation, the strongest leaders aren't those who never rest. They're those who know when to rest, when to reflect, and when to engage. This wisdom applies directly to how we consume information about world events. The most informed people aren't necessarily those who check the news every hour. They're those who have developed intentional practices around information consumption So, what might this look like in practice? First, set specific times to consume news rather than checking constantly. Perhaps you dedicate 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening to staying informed, protecting the rest of your day for focused work and present living. Second, be selective about your sources. Quality over quantity. Choose news sources that provide context without sensationalism, that inform rather than inflame. Third, balance consumption of difficult news with positive content. For every story about conflict, seek out stories of cooperation, innovation, and progress. This isn't about toxic positivity, it's about accurate representation of our complex world. Fourth, create discussion space with peers to process world events constructively. Conversation allows for deeper understanding and emotional processing in ways that passive consumption doesn't. And finally, take concrete actions on issues you care about rather than just absorbing information. Even small actions, donations, letters to representatives, conscious consumer choices transform helpless anxiety into purposeful engagement. These practices allow you to stay informed without staying overwhelmed. They create space for awareness without sacrificing peace. They embody the soft girl era philosophy while honoring your responsibility as a global citizen. Your awareness is a resource, Paulette reminded me during our conversation. Like any resource, it must be protected, directed, and renewed. This perspective shifts how we think about staying informed. It's not about consuming as much information as possible. It's about consuming the right information in the right way at the right time, and then using that information to make meaningful decisions and take meaningful actions. The soft girl era isn't about retreating from reality, it's about engaging with reality in ways that honor your humanity. It's about recognizing that your peace matters, not just for your own well being, but for your effectiveness in creating the change you wish to see. When you protect your peace while staying informed, you become more strategic in your responses. You're less likely to burn out. You're more likely to identify opportunities for meaningful impact. You're better equipped to sustain your engagement over time. This balanced approach is particularly important for Black professionals navigating spaces where our presence itself can be political. The pressure to be constantly informed, constantly engaged, constantly advocating can become overwhelming. The soft girl era philosophy offers permission to be selective, to be strategic, to be sustainable in how we engage. I want to challenge you today to reimagine your relationship with world events and information. What if your awareness became not a burden, but a carefully cultivated garden? What if you approached information not as something to be consumed endlessly, but as something to be transformed into meaningful action? The world doesn't need more burned out activists scrolling through bad news at 3 a.m. It needs clear minded, well rested change makers who know when to engage and when to restore. It needs people who understand that their peace is not separate from their power, it is the foundation of it. So I invite you, starting today, to set one boundary around your information consumption. Maybe it's a time limit, maybe it's a source audit, maybe it's an action plan that transforms anxiety into agency. Whatever it is, let it be your first step toward a new relationship with awareness, one that honors both your need to know and your right to peace. Because the revolution we're creating isn't just about changing the world, it's about changing how we engage with the world. And in that quiet revolution lies the power to sustain our impact, not just for days or weeks, but for a lifetime.